Satnam, aloha everyone. If you can put your name and your type, your human design type if you know it. And if you don't, you can go to your the information box to get your free chart. And you can include your astrological information too if you'd like. And let me just get the comments up. Great. Okay. Looks like we're moving here. Okay. Okay, so just let me get this set up here. And let this out. And the notes out. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay. Let me see what this looks like here. Get it nice and big for you. Okay. Awesome. People are piping in. And thank you to everybody that participated in the poll that I put it on. I put it on my YouTube channel. It's under community and through your hat in the ring. And it looks like the people would like to see both the human design all types readings and the astrological readings. Yeah. Yeah. Low energy. I don't know. To be honest, November's been was really tough on me. Yeah, for some reason, energetically. And then this morning, everything just started to shift. The thing is, I just go with it, right? It's best not to fight it. Because there's so much going on. I was talking to someone today about this, that energetically, there's so much going on. You know, even in our sleep, we're working, it seems like. And what we're doing is we're merging the light in the shadow. That's what we're doing in each one of us. This is the work that we're doing. Okay. Great. Okay. So let's, this is the just now chart, human design. So human design, just for people that are new to this, is a synergy of the I Ching, the Kabbalah, the chakra system, right? And astrology, of course. So some say it's the evolution of astrology because it's so specific. And it really shows you how to operate as yourself. Like operate as yourself. And let me just see. Oh, I don't have that other thing. Okay. To operate as yourself. And so we all have an aura, right? 9 feet in every direction is a healthy aura. But our auras work differently according to our type, right? So this is what we decipher. Now, this is a transit chart, right? If it's your natal chart, you're going to have a red side. So you have your unconscious and your conscious. Right, so this is what these readings are about, you know, so you can either be a generator, a manifesting generator, a manifester, a reflector, or a projector. Those are the five different types. But today we're going to talk about the transit because we all experience this transit. And so what's exciting is we've had a timeline shift. Okay, so from July 30th to November 27th, this is the North Node. That little horseshoe, right? And so this is what we've been called to move towards our future direction and to let go of this. This is the south node of the moon, right? So we've been letting go of the sadness and depression. I can totally relate to this. Numbness, it's the shadow of numbness. This is the first line, okay? So letting go of this heaviness in the body. It's a body thing. Feeling isolated, letting go of like being busy to avoid feeling the sadness and depression rather than face it. Clinging, right? It's Scorpio. This is South Nodes in Scorpio in the shadow of numbness. And then what we've been called to do since July 30th is this is the 2, right? I talk a lot about the 2. There's the 2 there being activated by Uranus still. This is the magnetic monopole. This is about orienting ourselves to our destiny, to our future destiny. what we've been called to do here on the planet, right? So this is embracing the feminine. The 2 is very feminine. It's about surrender. It's about trust, right? It's about receiving rather than going out and getting. And then experiencing the hidden harmony behind everything, right? So being creative and being a human being, not a human doing, right? So now I'm sure a lot has happened to you since July 30th, right? Especially with the eclipse season too, about getting aligned with your destiny and letting go, right? Continually letting go. So now we're moving into the timeline shift here. You can see here is the 24 and the 44. So we're leaving the 44 and we're moving into the 24. So the 44 comes off the spleen down there, the brown shape, right? And then the 24 is up here in the ajna. This is our personal mind. And this is our splenic awareness system. This is all about our body, physical survival. So letting go of this 44 and moving into the 24. So what does this mean? So this is a theme, right? It's a theme, and it's going to go until February 6, 2023. So letting go of the shadow of interference, this 44, it's the shadow of interference. It's letting go of fear, right? Letting go of fear, because everything in the splenic up here, these are all our fears. The 48, 57, 44, 50, 32, 28, 18, all our fears. This is the fear of our past coming back, right? So we're letting go. And it's very karmic. It's very karmic. So it's letting go of karmic relationships, right, during this time period. Letting go of addictions, okay? And then we're being called to move into this 24. So the 24 is the shadow of addiction. It's the shadow of addiction. And then the gift is invention. And then the city is silence, right? So being okay with not knowing. Being okay and not knowing, that space of I don't know. I know that I don't know. Spending time in silence, right, for this 24, and allowing creative insights to come out of the silence. Now, we always think that insights are coming from the mind, but the insights are really coming from your emotional body. Remember, we're evolving through the emotional body now, as we evolve as a humanity. So we're moving from that mental awareness, experiencing life through the mind, moving into emotional awareness, right? And so this mutates. Remember, I talk about the solar plexus mutation a lot for 2027. This mutates into spirit awareness, and this is how we're going to be experiencing life. The humans that are choosing to evolve and move forward, right? So the emotional awareness is, right, is to have that experience of the hidden harmony, not just a thought. Like, yeah, we're all connected, we're all one. That's not enough, right? It's about having the experience of this unity. We're going to have this experience. It's not going to be a mental process. So, okay. So allowing creative insights. I know what I want to talk about here. Is the insights come from this. This is our emotional intelligence. This is what we're learning now, right? We've taken the mind as far as we can go as a humanity, and now emotional intelligence. This is what we need to be working on now, is our emotional intelligence. So the insights come from deep within us, each one of us. They don't come from the mind. The insights don't come from the mind. The mind is all about the past. It's either reflecting on the past, or it's transposing the past onto the future. That's the mind, right? It's duality, it's separation. Well, when we do this emotional work, right? We do this emotional work, then the insights follow, right? They follow us. So it's a beautiful thing, right? It's allowing the insights to come for this new North Node, and they come out of this silence, right? They come out of the silence of your mind, silence in your mind. So what I see here is we're really being called to mute this 24, the north node up here, this 24. So being faced with addiction, right? The shadow of addiction. So we can transmute that into invention and silence. Okay, so most people think of addictions as the usual suspects, right? Like alcohol and drugs, like some kind of substance is addictive, or being addicted to social media, or addicted to relationships, or addicted to sex, or addicted to shopping and spending, right? Those, yeah, that's obvious. It's all about the external. Well, that's just the behavior, right? Addiction is deeper than just a behavior. Addiction comes from thinking, right? Because look where that 24 is. This is the mind, our personal mind, our psychological mind. This is the gate of return. It's the gate of return. So it's those thought patterns that are like a groove in a record that you can't get out of, these thought patterns. And this is what leads to the behavior over and over and over again. Addiction is something you feel like you have no control over, right? So we've got to go to the root. You want to go to the root, and this is the shadow, right? And the shadow is your thinking, right? Your thinking. So here's some things that you know, and you probably are aware of your addictions now, right? Your addictions now. So this shadow work is really about looking in the mirror, like looking in the mirror and looking at what needs to be corrected. This is what it means to be a spiritual adult. It's not about beating yourself up. We're humans. We've come in with all these shadow patterns. They come from our ancestors, right? And it's like looking at what needs to be corrected. So don't go into victim, like I'll never get over this, right? It's been in my family. This addiction's been in my family. It's been passed down from generation to generation. It's no, you can fix it with your awareness. Heal it, right? Very, very easily. So how do you know? Well, it's about the fear of the unknown. It's the 24, this uncertainty, right, that we're all coming into. We're coming into the now, more and more into the now moment at a time. This is what the cross of the sleeping phoenix is all about, right? That's happening in 2027. So coming more and more into the now present moment means we've got to face the unknown. And that's part of being in the present moment. You don't know what's going to happen. There's no mental certainty. So this is coming more, and this is the emptiness that people talk about. Like, I've got no meaning in my life. I've got no meaning. Everything's empty. Everything's meaningless. I have no purpose. We're coming face to face with reality, what's true. We're coming out of the illusion of the Piscean age. And so when we come into that moment, there's the unknown. That's the unknown. The only certainty is the unknown. There's no certainty on this planet. There's never been. It's just been an illusion. Well, then you go for the substance, or you go to something external to distract yourself. That's the thinking, because that wound is coming up. This wound of separation. I'm separate from the divine. We all have it as a humanity. The separation from the divine. Well, that's coming up, and then the mind is like, do this, do that, do this, to escape this pain, right? This is this emotional body pain that we all have to walk through, that emotional body, the emotional work, which means feeling. This is where authenticity is, that your authenticity, your spirit awareness that we're moving into. We've got to move through that emotional body, but there's the ego with that shadow. Go have a drink. Go smoke this. Go watch this. And it's like a compulsion, because it's so entrenched in your mind. It's a habit, right? That's a habit. So so again, it's just being aware of it, right? Being aware of it. So this shadow also makes you not think outside your comfort zone, because you're in this groove, right? You're in this groove. And the ego and the mind, they want you in comfort, right? They want you avoid, like the brain is almost like a computer. Avoid pain and seek pleasure. That's what it's programmed to do. Avoid pain, seek pleasure. So it makes your thoughts not move out of the comfort zone. You can become addicted to negative thinking. Well, I can't do this because this will happen. Or if I say this, this person will say that. And it keeps you in this low state, right? This low state of frequency. So this is you're trapped by your conditional thinking, your conditioned thinking. This is the thing. A lot of people on this planet think that they're free thinkers, and they're not. We've been programmed, right? Listen to people, especially if they watch mainstream news. They're just a parrot, right? Do you really believe that? If you start questioning people, they get upset because you're waking them up from their delusion. So this shadow of addiction keeps you trapped in conditional thinking. So start to really be aware of your thoughts. Is that true? Is that thought true? Is that true? Is that thought authentic to me? Is it true for me, or is it just something that I'm just parroting from my parents or my culture, right? Or my religion or whatever group you belong to, right? So this is conditioned thinking inherited by your ancestors. It's keeping you limited. Also, this shadow of addiction keeps you anxious. There's a part of you that can't relax. That can't relax on this earth plane, right? And then your life never really changes because you keep following these addictions and repeat, right? So repeating the same scenarios over and over and over again, it gives you a little life force. You feel depressed, and then you have the narrow perception of reality. So this feeling depressed and this life force energy, the shadows really drain that energy. It creates a heaviness in the body. That's what addiction is. It creates this heaviness in the body. This is the victim consciousness, right? So I'll talk about that when we get into the gift. But the shadow fears these gaps in awareness as we evolve, right? As we grow in frequency more and more, we're going to experience these gaps. There's gaps in our awareness, and that's the emptiness, right? The emptiness. Who we are is being revealed, if that makes sense, right? Who we are is being revealed. We're letting go of all these old selves, this old selves continually and growing. And it can bring up this pain of separation from the divine that we all have. We all have this pain of separation from the divine, and this is the addictions are trying to fill and suppress or control that pain. So your shadow can feel victimized by addictive thinking and the compulsion to act to get rid of that pain. So what do? You stay inside, right? You stay inside when these thoughts start to come. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go down that same road over and over and over again. I know where this addiction takes me, right? Over and over and over again. So you stay with it. This is shadow work. You don't project it outside, the external. You just stay with it, and it brings up discomfort. The feeling of discomfort, that's your work. I'm going to just feel this discomfort, this pain of feeling separate from the divine, like I need something outside of me to get through the day, to get through this lifetime. I'm just going to stay with it. This is very powerful because it's ancestral. It's not just you and your little personal life here. It's all your ancestors in their shadow of addiction, right? That's been passed down to you. The torch has been passed down to you. Whatever that addiction is. But it's a frequency, and you just feel it, and then the pain will start to come up, and you just feel it with your heart. So feeling it means you don't get caught up in the story of it. You just feel it. I'm just going to feel it in my heart. I'm going to feel it until the end, which is walking through this your emotional body, right? So then there's tears, crying, all that stuff when you have an emotional release, and then boom, you're on the other side, right? More and more authenticity coming, more spirit awareness coming for you, more insights come. The insights will come, and then something new. This is invention. This is the gift of invention, right? In silence, right? The invention. And we totally need this gift on this planet right now. So I would probably predict that we're going to see new things until February 6th, right? Yeah, February 6th of this year. Next year, I mean. So let's look at this gift of invention. So you can see, right? The addiction is the same thoughts, the same groove. We're playing the same record over and over and over again. Well, invention is popping you out of that groove. The needle's popped out of the groove, and then you're onto a new record, maybe a new song on that record, right? That's invention. It's breaking you out of that pattern, because this is what's creating the behavior. And then there's new behavior. So the insight will be, I'm going to hold, and I'm going to, like Michael said, I'm just going to keep it inside, and I'm going to feel it. And then the insight, and do the work, the emotional work. And then the insight will come, and it will be something different, a different behavior, right? It will be an insight that will come. We'll do this. And then you follow that. And that's taking you on a new groove. And then it's opening up this gift of invention, right? Which is opening up the mind, expanding the mind. So you welcome these gaps in awareness. You welcome them when you're in the gift of invention, and then you make the quantum leaps in your thinking, and you explore these gaps through contemplation or meditation, right? Where you surrender yourself to the mystery, right? You surrender yourself to the mystery, to the unknown, that you don't know who you are. You don't know what this life is. You don't know what this reality is. You don't know where this story is taking you. And then you let the insights reveal themselves to you. And I'm sure you've noticed this as you continually keep walking and committed to your spiritual journey. Things start to make sense. And that's the insights. It's like, oh, that's why that had to happen at that time. This is why this person had to leave at this time. Because this new thing couldn't come in, right? Like the insights will come and you start connecting the dots. But when you're in the middle of it, sometimes it doesn't make any sense. You just commit to those gaps of awareness that you don't know. And trust that the insights will come to you, right? So you bring new things in, right? We need new creative things coming into the world now. From silence, the city of silence, when the mind is silent, right? And this makes your brain more efficient, right? More focused and efficient. Yeah. Do you see how technology and social media and stuff really scatters our thoughts, doesn't it? So you could be multitasking. I've done this. I've been on my computer and I got my laptop going. I got other stuff going, but my awareness is scattered, right? Scattered. I'm not efficient. Projectors know this. This is our word, efficient. So you know that invention comes when you admit that you don't know. I don't know. I'm committed to following this. My intuition is calling me to do this. I'm committed to it. But I know. I don't know. I know that I don't know. That's when true invention and creativity comes in. So you embrace your internal silence. And this expands the gaps in awareness, right? This is this space, right? We've got to get used to these states of consciousness for the mind, right? Which is very spaciousness. And you can see the ego gets smaller and smaller, and you get larger and larger. Spirit awareness. This is your gaps of awareness that are expanding more and more. So, what else did I want to say about that? Yeah. So remember these layers of awareness that we're moving through. We're moving from the physical to the mental, the mind, and then emotional, right? The emotional. This is the layer that humans don't want to go through, right? And then that leads into frequency awareness. This is for the Aquarian age, the cross of the sleeping phoenix. That's what we're moving into, right? So we've got to go deeper and deeper and deeper into our emotional body work. Okay. And let's look at this chart for a second here, since it's here. So you've got the North Node, and we've got the channel of the transmitter today. So this is about communication as a wide, if you have this channel natally, then you're gifted in communicating a message, and it will be received by a lot of people. the 2644. A lot of musicians and writers have this 2644. So I know what I wanted to say. So we've got the South Node is 44, and this is in Scorpio, the shadow of interference, letting go of those karmic relationships. It's the frequency of interference. So when you're in this shadow, you attract karmic because it's not an authentic frequency. It's a not self, right? This interference. Interfere, right? It's a fear frequency. Well, then it attracts karmic relationships to you, right? So you want to be letting go of this. And you know who the karmics are. You can feel them, right? That's going to start to loosen, to not focus your attention on the karmic relationships. Just let them be. The ruler of Scorpio, because this is the 44, is Pluto in the 60. And it's, let's see, and it's a big deal, Pluto, right? Because it takes so long to orbit. I think it's there until, because it's going to be moving into Aquarius soon, 60. Maybe I got the dates. 20, okay, it's there for a while. Till 20, yeah, it's there until 2024. So that gives us more information, right? Pluto is the ruler of the South Node, and it's the shadow of limitation. It's about the shadow of limitation. So if we add that to the mix, it's letting go of feeling limited by your karmic relationships, right? Feeling limited by your karmic relationships. But it's the gift of realism, the 60. And that's what I'm seeing out in the world right now as we go through this transitional period into the cross of the sleeping phoenix, is there's no limits. It's like, this is like the message, but it's a lower frequency of like, yes, we're limitless, right? We're limitless beings. We're creative beings. We have all of this power, but limitation, there's a gift to limitation too, but it's the higher frequency of limitation, which is realism. And that's like, if you look at the banks of a river, there's like a container, there's a containment, there's always containment. And that's where creativity can really flourish. It needs containment. And right now the zeitgeist is like, no, we don't need any containment. Right? And there's no creativity there. And this creates anxiety for the mind. If you've got too many choices, it creates anxiety. So limitation can really serve you, like discerning what's important to you, what your values are, because it's North Node in Taurus, what your values are, what's important to you, and start making choices, right? This space of like there's infinite possibilities and I'm not going to make any choices. We have to work with the limitation of our mind and our limitation of our body. And that's where the power is. So that's what I really see too with this 44 is letting go of this feeling limited, feeling limited and feeling constricted. And then upping that up to a higher frequency and to realism, right? Because we have a finite time here on Earth. That's a limitation. We're in this time-bound body. That's a limitation, right? Like look at your limitations, and they're your banks on the river, and work with those. That's what I see there. So that can help too. Anyway, I did a reading, a tarot reading for us today on this. Oh, look, and it totally fits with what I was just talking about. I didn't notice that before. Okay. So the Knight of Swords, that's where we are now as a group. And so the Knight of Swords is like, I'm going in. It's very Aries, right? I'm going in. I'm just going to communicate this. I'm going to just bulldoze through this. There's not a lot of thought with Knight of Swords. So wanting to move forward, I can relate to this energy myself. Just wanting to move forward, taking action. I just want to take action and move. And this is this limitation, right? The shadow of limitation. I want to bust through these limitations. I want to bust through them, and I'm going to act. But the Knight of Swords is really about this mind, you know? It's really about the mind, and there's no energy there in the mind anymore in this evolutionary process that we're in. So that's where we are now, just wanting to move forward. You can relate to this. And what not to focus on is the sun. And that's happiness, joy, vitality, success. So what this is saying is not to be, I'm just gonna act. This is what makes me happy. I'm just gonna go for it, right? I'm just gonna go for whatever makes me happy and joyous, right? With the sun. It's like, don't focus on that. This will come, right? This will come. This will chase you, right? The sun energy will chase you. If you, the spiritual advice is going to this Queen of Pentacles energy. So the Queen of Pentacles takes care of herself. She's self-reliant. She's the complete opposite of codependency, right? So this is letting go of these karmic relationships that you feel codependent energy on, like I need this person to survive, right? In a very practical way, right? To let go of that, and then to move into this Queen of Pentacles energy, right? So this is being practical. It's independent. She takes care of herself. She nurtures herself. She can nurture people around her. So to look at what makes you stable, right? What do you need, like materially? What do you need right now? It's very practical, very practical. Well, I need this much money. I need to live in a home like this that supports me in this way, right? I need a job or whatever it is that you need that's very practical, don't be dependent on other people. This is what this energy is saying, to just really get self-reliant. So it completely goes against the cross of planning energy that we've been in since 1615, right? The global cycle was fostered codependency. Well, of course I need people around me. How will I survive? You need to get out of that. It's about being self-sovereign now. It's coming from the self first, and then the self will attract all the resources that you need to you, right? Yeah, and nurturing yourself. And then underneath in the subconscious is Two of Pentacles, which is like the back and forth, the wishy-washiness, with the Seven of Cups. And that's having too many choices, making too many choices. So back and forth, wishy-washy, the Two of Pentacles, all stressed out about the material world. And then this confusion, the Seven of Cups. I've got too many choices. And this can be fantasy too, like locked into a fantasy, especially if you're in a codependent energy, right? Like somebody else is going to come in and save me. You don't want to go there. This is dangerous thinking right now, this old thinking. It's about how can I take care of myself, the Queen of Pentacles. And so this is going to make you stressed out, like the anxiety that I talked about, the back and forth with that Pluto in the 60. It's there for, a couple more years until it moves into Aquarius. And then we bought the ego card. What's the ego saying? Where is he? He's saying, who's your daddy? That's what the ego's saying. So this is the Dark Night of the Soul card, right? The dark night of the soul that we all have to go through, which is so connected to this, right? Moving into the emotional body, the dark night of the soul. So there's no light. When you're in the dark night of the soul, you don't even see that light at the end of the tunnel. It's all dark. It's all emptiness, right? The 24, it's all the emptiness. Then you choose the dark night of the soul. We all have to go through this test. Are we going to choose the ego? What the ego is telling us to do, or are we going to choose to have faith? And you can see this out in the world. I just saw this, you probably know this if you're Canadian maybe, that they've got this new MAID. It's called MAID. And it's assisting people that want to commit suicide, right? This is what's happening. And what I really feel is like it's our dark night of the soul as a humanity, and they're the government is right there. Well, we'll help you, right? That's the ego. Well, the dark night of the soul. We'll help you, right? You're in poverty and you can't take care of yourself and you got some health issues. Well, you can always just go, and they're romanticizing it. You can just go out this way. And the thing is, there's no escape with suicide. There's no escape. You're going to be coming back. You're here to work through your karma. You're here to evolve, right? You're here to learn as a soul. So that would be like an example of this death economy. That's what I see that we're in right now, right? This death economy on the planet. There's big business in keeping people sick. There's big business in that death energy. And right now we've got to embrace this life energy. So when you're in the dark night of the soul, when you're listening to the ego, you're going for the death energy. You want to be going for life, right? Life, the life energy, and that's reaching for the light. Always reaching for the light. So this is what this tarot is saying, right? So it's to choose. We'll be in a choice point. There's the Two of Pentacles, the choice point, right? And the ego will always come out with death, right? Well, just check out, it's got to be better than this. Because it's going to get more and more painful to be on this planet as the frequency changes, because it's bringing up all these ancient emotional wounds. Your ancestral memories are all here in the solar plexus, and they have to be felt, right, till the end. And this brings this lightness. That's what I wanted to talk about with the gift. So the addiction is the heaviness, but this invention and silence is the lightness, right? So the shadow frequency is bringing you down and creating this heaviness and lethargy, right? And then the gift is bringing you up, invention and silence. So you'll know, your body will let you know what state of frequency that you're in. So that's the other thing, right? When you feel the shadow, when it starts to come up in you, until February 6th, is to feel it until the end. And then the insight will come, and the insight's going to lift you. It's going to be a behavior that lifts you up. So you want to act on that, act on your insights, right? Don't act on the mind and the addiction. So it's a test of your faith, right? Is to choose the light, So not to listen to the ego, right? Because addiction is death energy. It's death energy. Keeps you stuck. Okay. And then that sun energy will follow the Queen of Pentacles energy of being independent and stable, nurturing, taking care of yourself, not going into codependency. Relying on the self, the big S self, not the ego, which is relying on other people. Right? The ego wants you pointed to you need that person to survive. You don't want to be listening to that. Yeah. Okay. So let's see 555. Let's see what people are saying here. So Eva, Harpreet, Satnam, Massachusetts Corruption, Satnam, Luna Song, Satnam, Soaking It Up, Eva, 4-1 Projector, Jeanette, Satnam, MG, Shaima. Shaima is a manifester, right? I think you are. Jeanette, Jen Goodwin from Vancouver Island, Generator. I know. Shaima, I can totally relate to that. I want to slap my ancestors. Multiple slaps. And then hug them right after. They passed on some really heavy stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So just watch it. You're going to become aware of it. You've listened to me, and now you're going to become aware of how this shadow pattern's all over the planet. Right? We want to be distracted. Okay. So let's go to the types. And we're going to start with the generator first, the generator type. So this is your aura if you're a generator. Whoops. if you're a generator. So 70% are manifesting generator and generator, but I separate them here because a lot of, I don't want to put, they're a little bit different. There's a little bit of a twist. So the generators have to respond. They're to respond to life, right? Well, from their navel with a yes or a no, right? So the generators that I talk to, they're to surrender. Of all the types, the generator and the manifesting generators have to surrender to life, right? So they pull experiences and people into them through the magnetic monopole, and then they respond with the yes or no. So the yes means like, yes, this is correct for me. The no is no. So it's not about the mind generators. Yeah. And the generators, they generate the life force energy on the planet. It's really this planet is really for the generators and the manifesting generators. They've created the frequency. So when they start to awaken, like look out, the generators and the manifesting generators en masse. Yeah. So when they're not operating correctly, when they're listening to their mind and their ego to make decisions, then they will feel frustrated, right? Especially in their work. Work's really important for the generators and manifesting generators, right? So they want to feel fulfilled in their work, satisfied in their work. So let's do some cards for the generator. So let's go the generator, letting go of karmic relationships. And so generators go through 7-year cycles, 7-year cycle of experience with people. So it could be letting go of some karmic relationships, generators, for you. And then the other thing with the generators and the manifesting generators, they're the most conditioned by the mind of all the types. You've got the strongest conditioned mind. So that would mean letting go of this addiction to particular kind of thinking, right, as a generator. And one of the biggest downfall thoughts is nothing will happen unless I do something, unless I initiate something. And you're not here to initiate, you're here to respond with the yes or no. What do the generators need to hear? What's the generators need to hear? Okay. Let's see the ego. So the generator got the King of Wands. And that's leadership. That's the leadership card. Let's see what the ego's got to say. It's a visionary. Now. So generators, how do you see yourself? That's what I would ask you. What groove are you locked into? And what record are you playing over and over and over again in your head about who you are? What's the ego saying to the generators, please? This one. Oh, you got a conflict card. Okay. So you got the King of Wands. It's a mover and shaker card, generator. So the leader, the visionary, this is all about long-term success. And then you got the conflict card. So there could be an addiction to conflict here. And it's true, some people are addicted to conflict. Have you met these people? They're always fighting with somebody. You know? They're always in conflict with somebody because it's an addiction. And where is it coming from? It's coming from inside their thinking. They're at odds with themselves in the mind. And then this gets manifested out in the external world, right? So it's the reflection of an inner conflict going on between your head and your heart, your head and your heart. So as a generator, it would be like the conflict between your head. Am I going to listen to my head and my ego, my non-self, or am I going to listen to my navel? My navel. That's the conflict. And the easiest way to get rid of conflict is commitment, right? It's commitment. I'm going to commit even for the day. I'm going to commit to obey my navel, right? My navel response. I'm not going to go for my mind. I'm going to go for my navel and see what happens, right? Have the experience. Wow, these awesome things happened to me today. Or something left my life, starting to leave my life. I'm seeing it in truth because I started obeying my navel, right? Yeah, so when you start committing to yourself, right, committing to the navel, because we're doing a human design reading here, is conflict will disappear. It will just magically disappear on the external world, right? So King of Wands is saying it's time to take the helm, generator. It's time to take the helm. And taking the helm means I'm not letting my mind rule me anymore. I'm going to listen to my navel. I'm going to be listening to my intuition right now. And this is going to bring you long-term success, right? And it's this knowingness. Because the two, let's go back to the overall reading, generators. This Two of Pentacles back and forth, being all wishy-washy, this is more conflict, right? So when you know yourself and you're in your authenticity and you really trust that navel 100% is leading you to where you're supposed to go in this lifetime, right? There's no Two of Pentacles then. There's no in the mind confusion, right? It's just like, no, and it's this test of faith. Who's your daddy? Well, it's not going to be the ego and the non-self. It's like, I know that I don't know. That's the 24. I know that I don't know. The gift, right? This gift of invention and silence. But I'm going to just take a leap of faith and trust my navel is taking me to a really good place that's correct for me in this lifetime. You know? Where are we with the generator? Just get me the generator. And it's also about trusting, because generators cannot trust, and manifesting generators cannot trust, oh, well, I'll have nothing to respond to. I'm in this gap. We're at the 24, right? I'm in this gap where one thing's left and another thing hasn't come in yet. I'm in a gap. This is the levels of evolution that generators go through, is to don't initiate. This is the conflict, right? It's like the mind is like, well, you got to do something. Well, what will happen? You got to act now. The pressure, right, of the mind that generators experience is to trust, right? Just to completely trust. That's your big word, generator, is surrender. Is surrender to life. And surrender that your form, your human design type, and your authority, or your strategy knows best, right, for you. Yeah. And then the conflict will just disappear. And commitment just takes, that's my sole purpose, right? I've got the 29, is commitment. Commitment is just like, it's relaxing when you're not in the 7 of Cups energy, you know? Up here, you're not in the 7 of Cups back and forth. You're in like, no, this is what I'm committed to. This is your compass, generators, right? I'm jealous. I'm a projector. I get jealous sometimes of generators because they got such an easy strategy to me, you know? Okay. What else do we want to say here? So letting go of not listening to these karmic people in your life, giving your authority over to them, right? And become the leader of your own self, of your own life. This is what it means to be a spiritual adult. Yeah. Trust thy navel. Okay. Okay, so that's the generator, and let's go to the manifesting generator. So they too have an open and enveloping aura. And that's the other 35, right? 35% of the population are generators, and then 35% are manifesting generators. So manifesting generators, you too have an open and enveloping aura, and you're here to respond to life with your navel. So out of all the types, The manifesting generator wants to be chomping at the bit. They got so much energy. But they want to be focused on where they want to spend that energy. That's your currency, right? Is energy. It's not really money, it's your energy. Okay, we'll see what the manifesting generators want to say. So it's really with the generators and the manifesting generators is to have that silence, that gift of silence. And this is with the 24 in the North Node up here, right? Whoops. Up here. It's doing that. The North Node is 24, 6. What's the manifesting generators here? Is silencing the mind. Is silencing the mind. And the great way to silence the mind is meditation, and I've got lots of free meditations on my YouTube channel. But also not paying attention to your mind, not listening to your mind. And this is getting into the gap, the 24, right? It's getting into the gap. And to silence means there's your ego and your mind. You move into the spirit awareness, right? You move into the spirit awareness, the space of awareness. And then you're listening, right? And that voice gets lower and lower and lower and lower in volume until it's this little squeak when you're in this expanded state of awareness, you know? But when you're not, you're in addiction. And there's that ego, and mind is like right there. And a lot of people are channeling this ego. They don't even know it's not them, right? Because you, like the generators, have a very conditioned mind. Out of all the human design types, your mind is the most conditioned. Okay. So what's the card for the manifesting generator? What's the card for the manifesting generator? It's that one. Oh. Okay. Okay. So we got the guilt card. This is coming from the ego deck, right? The ego trap. And then the moon in the tarot. Major arcana. So fears around guilt for the manifesting generators. So not forgiving yourself for past mistakes. And that would be this, wouldn't it? This 44. This is what we're being called to let go of. Interference, the shadow of interference. It's our karmic relationships, right? So not forgiving, guilt is not forgiving yourself for a past mistake. Now there's a difference between guilt, right? There's conditioned guilt, and that's the guilt that's been imposed on us through religion. You should feel guilty because you're born a sinner, you'll always be a sinner, that kind of trip, religious trip. And then there's natural guilt. And natural guilt is when your conscience, it hounds you, right? Like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or I shouldn't have said that. That's natural to us, and that it's just showing us, oh, we've betrayed ourselves, we missed the mark, right? That's what sin really is. We miss the mark, and then we make amends, right? We apologize, we do whatever we have to do. But this guilt, this ego is taking that natural guilt and then it's blowing it out of proportion, right? So it's about you not forgiving yourself for a past mistake you've made. And then the ego is like, well, you got to sacrifice yourself. This is codependency, right? To pay off this guilt, to pay off the guilt, go into sacrifice. So to watch this, either it's being imposed on you through another, or it's or reflect on a past mistake you've made. And just because it's the 44, it's going to connect to a karmic relationship. Right? So this could be the addiction or these thoughts, right, in your head, remembering, having memories, things like that. Yeah. And then it just praying for forgiveness, praying to the divine for forgiveness for yourself, and then you forgive yourself, right? Because how it works is you have to receive the gift before you can give it to another, which means giving it to yourself. So you have to receive it first from the divine, and then it has to be sincere, right? And then you forgive yourself to release yourself from this. And to not be sacrificing, like, why am I doing this for this person? Go into your motivation manifesting generator. Why am I doing this? Ask yourself questions. Start to ask yourself questions. What's my true motivation here? Am I trying to pay off some guilt? Right? Because the thing is, when you're incorrect in your energy and you're trying to pay off guilt, the other person will not receive what you give. It's like, it can be like a frustration thing, right? Like, that person's a black hole. I keep giving and giving and giving, and they, right? And it's not reciprocal. It's not reciprocated. Well, that's showing you a big sign is look to your motivation. Like, why am I giving, right, to this person? Am I trying to pay off guilt, right? To just correct that, And then you got the moon card. The moon card, major arcana. So this is a big nodal axis cycle for you. And that's letting go of fears, like deep fears. And it's connected to guilt. It's about releasing secrets. And it's about doing your shadow work. So everything that you're pointing at out in the external world, watch your mind. What gets you all riled up and angry and judgmental? You got to turn it back on yourself. You're only seeing yourself. The thing is, the planet in the world is neutral. It's we're the ones projecting out onto the world, and you're projecting your guilt and you're projecting your fears, your deepest fears, out into the world stage, right? And it's all an illusion. So how do you heal the world? You heal yourself. That's the truth. You heal yourself. You take it inside. Moon is also mother. Can also be your mother manifesting generators. It's definitely the past. And that makes sense too, right? The 44 is the fear of the past catching up with you. Yeah. So that's what I say is you got to forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself. And it means feeling. You can't just say the words. You got to feel. Feel the humility of wanting forgiveness from the divine for a past mistake. And then forgiving yourself with feeling, like unconditional love. And we're human, right? We all make mistakes. We just can't be stopped, right? Stop our evolution and our soul's destiny because of a mistake we made. We're in Earth School. We're here to learn, right? So you make a mistake, you go into forgiveness. You do whatever your intuition is telling you to do. If you have to apologize to someone or something, right? And then you keep moving on. You don't let it stop you, because the ego trap manifesting generators to keep you stopped in your tracks. So secrets, right? The moon's going to reveal secrets. Maybe you don't even know this guilt exists, right? And the other hot tip too is I don't have a natal chart. Do I? Yeah. Okay, we can talk about that later. Oh, that's interesting. If you got a fifth line, see the 5.5, to check out your chart, wherever you've got fifth lines, you're going to have that theme of guilt, right? The fifth line is guilt. We're actually in it right now. This is the shadow of inertia that we're in right now. And indifference. Okay, so that's the manifesting generator. And let's go to the Projector. Okay. And it's 1616. So the projector are 20% of the population, and they've got a focused and absorbing aura, and they're here to guide the other types. And what makes you a projector, projectors, are this navel right here. That's the navel. See it? That shape above the bottom one is not colored in. Wherever you're colored in your chart is what you can count on. That's your energy. This is the life force energy. So the generators and manifesting generators have this colored in. The projectors do not, right? So they don't have the energy that the other types have. And I've said this before. It's like the manifesting the other types wake up with full tank of gas, right? The manifesting generator. And then the projector, they're given that every day. The projector's given, quarter tank of gas. They've got to be really smart about how they use their energy. So the addiction for the projector would be possibly wanting to be something else that they're not because they're so rare. Wanting to be a manifestor, wanting to be a generator. Okay. What's the card for the projector? What's the card for the projector? What's the card for the projector? Okay. Oh. Okay, that's... So the projector got the Ace of Pentacles in the tarot. So this is new. It's not new, it's a new opportunity for a manifestation and abundance, and it's very practical, right? It's about money. It's money because it's pentacles. It's about the earth plane. Now remember that the projector has to be invited. They've got to be recognized, and they have to be invited. So maybe you're letting go, like one addiction that projectors can have because they only have that quarter tank of gas is addicted to energy, right? They can get addicted to energy. So maybe you're addicted to these karmic relationships that you got to let go of for their energy. Okay. What's the ego card for the projector? So we can put this story together. I feel like 2. Okay. Okay, so for the projectors, right there, the Ace of Pentacles, new opportunity. This is for prosperity. It's the beginning of something. Maybe, remember, you've got to be recognized and invite it. And this is going to bring abundance for you. And let's see what the ego is saying. Is the victim card. Now, all the shadow patterns have a flavor of this victim. Yeah. So maybe feeling victimized by being a projector. I know what I wanted to say, like addicted to energy. So addicted to something outside of you, because that's the shadow is all about projecting outward to get more energy. So watching what you're doing, what your mind is telling you to reach for when you go through these periods of emptiness, right? Like I said, projector, you got to listen to the beginning of it if you've just tuned in here. With this shadow of addiction. And it could be about energy, right? Because we live in a generator, manifesting generator world, and they've got all the energy. Our whole world is set up by generators, right? We live in a 9 to 5 grind that was all set up by the generators, not the projectors. The projectors would not have set life up like this at all. So it's this trying to fit in, right? The round peg in the square hole, right? That there can be like an addiction to something external about giving you that energy. I need this, I need energy to be in this world, to survive in this world, right? So it could be food, it could be some kind of stimulant or something like that, and it could be people, because it's this 44, right? So not to feel victimized by life now, because our world is changing, right? The frequency is changing on the planet. The old generator ways are not going to work anymore. You know, if you're not aligned with the soul and the spirit, you're not going to have any energy. It will be so blatant for the generators, like, this is not working. This is not working. I'm exhausted myself in a really bad way. I'm feeling frustrated in a really bad way, you know? And there we have the projectors, and we know how to work with energy. So it's about trusting your own energy. That's what I see here. Trusting your own energy, and the energy will come to you if you need it, when you need it, what you need it for. And so this is what I had to learn as a projector for this month of November, especially this last week. I didn't have any energy at all. I just had to trust. I'm going through my process, right? But the mind, the addictive thinking, I've got this to do, and I have this to do, and I have that to do. And the energy just wasn't there, and I can't play these games anymore. And you're going to realize that more and more. Projectors and all the types, that we can't play. We can't like force through willpower anymore, which is be detrimental to our bodies, right? Because this energy, this new consciousness, this new global cycle that's coming, the cross of the sleeping phoenix, it's like, no, it's not going to allow for the old ways anymore, you know? So that's what I would say there, is to watch that, to trust your energy level, and not to go into victim, right? Not to go into victimize, like blaming something outside of me why I'm feeling this way. Yeah. And this no taking accountability, that's a huge theme on this planet right now. Not taking accountability for your experience. You know, you play games with your energy as a projector when you don't have that energy. You get sick or something happens. It's like you got to take accountability, not go into victim. Why does this always happen to me? It's like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, right? I went against my type, right? I didn't value my energy. I knew I shouldn't have done that. And then you just learn from it. You just make the correction. But take accountability for your experience. And then you got the other ego card, because it was really called to pick two for the projectors, is the go along, the get along. Yeah, so everyone else is doing it, so it must be right. Right? That's what the ego says. So it's giving the power over to the group ego. And then for a projector, it would be like, well, all the generators can do this, right? All the generators can waste their energy doing this and doing that. Why do I, the victim, right? Why do I have to not do this, right? And this is not valuing who you are. It's not valuing your authenticity, you know? That we're not, this is what we have to realize for the Aquarian age, is that because of this authenticity, we have to be authentic, that we're not all the same. Yes, on some level, yes, we all have this human body, and we've got our, you know, our 2 eyes and our 2 ears and whatever. And then we're connected through spirit awareness. But then at the same time, we're each one of us unique. So to me, it's like valuing your uniqueness as a projector type, and honoring that, and honoring your energy, and not going along the get along, right? And that takes courage sometimes when you're in the group. No, I can't eat that, right? I'm gluten intolerant or whatever it is for you. No, I can't go out and socialize. I've socialized too much. I'm feeling really tired tonight. And the generator was like, what are you talking about? You hardly did anything today. Well, that's the generator. That's their experience. And the thing is with the projector, sometimes they're not going to understand you, especially if they don't know human design, right? There's just like one size fits all, those people. And then kind of gaslighting your experience. You just don't fight. It's like, I know who I am as a projector and I know what I need. And I know I need to value my energy. And if that person doesn't understand, then they don't understand, right? It doesn't matter. You don't need their approval or their validation, right? You just have to be you, right? That's what this is saying. So new opportunities are coming, but tests, always tests, right? They come together. The new opportunity comes and then tests will come too. Yeah. So it's got to be right for you. Whatever this new opportunity it is, if it looks like sacrifice, if it looks like exhaustion, it looks like trying to fit in with the group, it's not for you. You got to be recognized, right? By recognized. And then invite it for this new opportunity. Yeah. And not everybody's your cup of tea, projector. You got to learn that. So when you say no to somebody that's not right for you, they don't recognize you, they're not really inviting you. Maybe they did invite you, but they don't recognize you. That's a low quality invitation. And when you say no to those people, then it makes room for the people that are right for you to come in. Yeah. So don't try to be fitting in with the group, projector. 20%. 20% of us, not very many. Yeah. Anything else with that? With the 24? Yeah, just getting out of this old way of thinking, right? This group thing. Get out of this mindset, right? The cross of the sleeping phoenix is all about empowerment of the individual, of your unique self. Yeah. Okay. This is good news. This is good news. Okay. That's the projector. Yeah, so when you're operating correctly, you feel successful. That's that Ace of Pentacles. When you're operating not correctly, you feel bitter. You have bitter thoughts, right? And that's the victim. That's that victim energy. Okay. That's what I got for the projector. And let's go for the manifester. So the manifestors are 9%. They're not only 9% of the world are the manifestors. And they've got the open, the closed, because they're the opposite of the generators. They've got the closed and repelling aura. So their strategy is to inform, which is to share what they're doing, what they're up to, and then to initiate. So they wait for divine inspiration, the manifestors. And when they're not operating correctly, they feel angry. When they're not informing and telling people what they're doing, they feel angry because they're met with resistance, right? Because they're not operating correctly. But when they do, when they start informing and then initiate, they feel peace, at peace. Okay. Let's see what we got for the manifesto. So it's making room for the silence, right? It's the 24, the North Node. City is silence. There's the manifesto right there. Oh. Okay, let's see what the ego is saying. Okay, what's the ego telling the manifesto? That one. Okay. So the ego is telling you to gaslight yourself. Gaslight yourself. Right? And then the Temperance card, which is Major Arcana. So this is being patient. Manifestors are not good with being patient. They're very impatient with the other types, you know? Because the thing with the manifestors, they used to be the rulers on this planet, and that all changed when all those generators started getting more and more empowered. So they can be impatient with people, right? It's in their DNA. They're not used to informing and sharing, you know? It's the thing is with our strategy, it can be really, this is for all the other types, it can be very unfamiliar to us, you know, like waiting for the invitation, waiting to be recognized and invited for the projector. The generators waiting to respond, the reflectors waiting for the moon cycle. So this sharing does not come easy for the manifestors because they're afraid of being shut down and controlled, right? There can be fear of that. So this is lying to yourself. This is lying to yourself card for the manifestors. And so this could be the divine inspiration is coming to you. And you're like, no, that's, your ego is like, no, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to ignore it. I'm going to talk myself out of my feelings. Maybe I'm really angry because I'm not operating correctly, right? And then I'm just going to talk myself out of my feelings. Those feelings aren't real. So this is self-deceit, is what I see here, is the gaslighting yourself. And this is an addiction for the manifestors, right? Because it's the 24. The 24. So we're letting go for this nodal, the storyline shifting. We're letting go of these addictive thought patterns, right? And then it's saying to be patient. So being patient and balanced with yourself. And balancing the yin and the yang. So if you're too much in your yin, this is a very healing card for the manifestors. If you're too much in your yin, then you're not initiating. You're just being passive. You're trying to pretend that you're a generator. Manifestors will do that. Like, oh, I'm just going to wait till something comes to me and then I'll do it. You're here to initiate. So if you're too much in your yin, you're not initiating. If you're too much in your yang, you're not listening to your divine inspiration. You're acting, right? And you're not informing. And then this creates anger, right? Creates a lot of conflict and resistance. Because the thing is, we live in a generator world. They've got the open and enveloping aura there, right? The teddy bear aura. It's like auric. The generators and manifesting generators, they're communicating through their aura, right? And then they come across you. This is all going on in the unconscious level. They got the closed and repelling aura. The aura is like, what is this? I don't know that. I can't get into this being, right? And it's, they don't trust you, right? They don't trust you. So this is about you coming into balance with your yin and yang energy, your male and female energy, male and feminine energy, and having patience. So it's learning. That's what I'm seeing. It's like you're learning how you work as a type, you know? And where are you out of balance as a manifestor? Where are you out of balance? Yeah. So spending time in silence with this 24, the North Node. Yeah. Allowing that divine inspiration to come to you and getting familiar with your energy, manifestors. Right? Because you want to initiate the right thing at the right time. And then you're going to get peace. That's what you really want, is peace. And then learning to share with people. The first question you should ask before you initiate, right? The divine inspiration comes in. And then there's this step. It's like, who is this going to impact? Who will this impact? That's a big word for you. Who will this impact in my life? And then you just let them know. This is what I'm doing. Right? You want to stay at work late, right? You want to stay at you're really in your groove and you're working on a project. You're going to initiate another project, and then it's like, who will this impact? Oh, my partner that's waiting for me at home, right? That's a little example of how to inform and share. Okay. Yeah, but stop lying to yourself. That's what this is saying. Stop lying to yourself. And stop blaming. If I'm being met with all this resistance, why don't these people just get out of my way? You got to bring it back to you. Why is this happening? Oh, I'm not operating from my strategy. I'm not sharing with people because I have fear of being controlled like I was when I was a child. Okay, that's what I got for that, for the manifestors. And let's go to the reflectors to finish it off, because they're the reflectors. Look at them, eh? Only 1% of the world are reflectors. That's why I like to hear from the reflectors. So they've got the resistant and sampling aura. So you can see all these shapes. Those are all the centers, the 9-centered being. The reflectors, it's not colored in at all. They're totally open. That's why they've got this resistant and sampling aura that protects them. So their strategy is to follow the moon cycles. So when they're not operating correctly and they're making decisions from the mind and not following the moon, they can feel disappointed. And when they operate correctly, they feel surprised. So the thing with the reflectors, they're always changing, right? Because they're so in line with the moon. That you want to be surprised. A good question for the reflector is like, who am I today? According to the moon. Like, where are we now? $36. Are we in Pisces still? Yeah. That's right? Yeah, Pisces. We're in the moon of Pisces, so you can be all Pisces today. Reflectors. Piscean. So you got to watch it today, actually, reflectors, because we're in the North Node is the shadow of addiction. Pisces rules addiction, so you got to watch any addictive qualities during the Piscean moon. Okay, what's the reflector? It's that one there. 8 of Cups. Okay. So you got the 8 of Cups, and that's about leaving. The reflector's going to walk away because they've been disappointed. 8 of Cups. So some kind of emotional experience has come into an end for the reflectors. Okay. What's the ego telling the reflectors? Tell me what the ego is telling the reflectors. This one right here. Oh. Okay. So you got the Eight of Cups reflectors, and that's walking away. And that's about some kind of karmic relationship. Where is it here? Right? This 44 with the wrong people reflectors. Right? The shadow of interference is about being with the wrong people, karmic people. So walking away from that, right? And moving into the space of not knowing, right? Not knowing. And then you've got the self-love. This is the ego telling you that self-love is selfish, right? So the Eight of Cups is saying, what I see here with the Eight of Cups is saying, you want something, right? You want to be surprised. You want to be with the right people, right? So I'm walking away. I'm doing it for me as a reflector. And then the ego is saying it's selfish. You can't leave, right? It's selfish to be thinking about yourself all first. We've been conditioned to do that in the cross of the planning. It's all about the tribe. It's the better of the good. Just sacrifice yourself. It's all about the collective. And you're in these cards are saying no, right? No. Yeah. So this is connecting to the self, to yourself, right? Your true self, your authentic self, away from the mind, right? Away from the mind, away from the ego that's telling you lies, right? And that's where your power is as a reflector. Because you got to be centered in yourself. I know you're changeable and everything, but there's a sense of self too within you. And that's what you want to be listening to. Because if you're not, and you're in your mind and you're in a group, because you're supposed to be in groups. So this time for you is to really get centered in yourself and to know who you are. And reflectors have to do this anyway, is to remove themselves wherever they are, whatever group they're in, remove themselves, go on a little retreat to get to know your own frequency. So that's what this says to me, is you're walking away out of self-love. It's coming from self-love, but don't listen to that ego. This is the conditioning, right? The tribal consciousness. You don't want to be listening to that. You want to, again, it's valuing yourself. There's only 1% of the world that are reflectors, right? And you've got to be rooted in yourself, your true self. And then you benefit the group. Then you come back in the group as yourself. Then you benefit the group, the energy of the group. If you're the not self, right? If you're the not self reflector and you're trying to be like a generator, it's not going to serve anybody. There's only 1% are reflectors. Yeah. So remember that you're taken out of your power, right? If you don't take care of your own needs. So if this is positive, whatever you're doing, walking away from these karmic relationships. Yeah. Okay. That's what I got there. So I'll probably have a live stream on Saturday, and that will be all signs. So I'm not sure what the theme's going to be, because we got a full moon coming up too. I've got to look at the dates, but I may do this nodal axis read too for the all signs. Okay, so I want to thank everybody for coming online and follow this. The information has been implanted. It's been seeded in you of this shadow pattern. And that's all it is. All I'm doing is reminding you of something you already know. And then shadow work is just about awareness. It's like, oh, I see my addictive pattern that Michael was talking about. I see it, right? And that's all you do is you see it. You see it in action. And as soon as you spot it, because that shadow is used to be working under the surface, you're not able to see it. It's in the dark, right? And then your light of awareness is coming in. It's like, oh, I see it now. And that puts you in the gap, right? It puts you in this gap right there where you see it in action. And then it stops it. right? It doesn't become a behavior, right? These thought patterns. And we're so in them, especially if you're unconscious or semi-unconscious, right? They go on the unconscious level and it's like, oh, I didn't know that was going on inside me, but it's been motivating this behavior that I've been doing for years and years. It's been motivating the behavior of my ancestors too, right? So that's all you have to do is don't act on it. Shadow work is about containment, limitation, right? Realism, keeping it in, keeping it contained, right? And then feeling it because it's going to bring discomfort in the body, right? You want to embrace all that discomfort that's coming up because it's leading you into your evolution, into your spirit awareness. And then you move through the feeling, the discomfort of this addiction. And then you feel it. And it's going to be feeling separate from God, separate from the divine. And then boom, you're expanded into the other side. So that's what I want to leave you with. Okay? So hopefully you've benefited from this. And if you have, please like my video and share, and please write your comments too, because I love the feedback, right? I love your feedback. Okay? So have a great day or evening wherever you are in the world. Okay. Satnam aloha, everyone.